preparing to live stream. Might be all right. Right. Second coffee of the day.
Yeah, second coffee, same.
Yeah, I've got a haircut booked to 10:15. So
yeah. At 10:15. Okay.
Yeah, preparing to live stream. Sorry, 10:30.
Right. Okay, that's right. Yeah, second coffee, same. I can hear myself.
Yeah.
I can hear myself live stream.
I've got rid of that. Right. Good to know the live stream's working. Right, let's just find it on my phone so I can monitor it. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Because I left my tablet at the theatre. I packed my laptop, but not my tablet. So.
Nice.
Yeah. Right, we are live.
We're live. Happy days. Hello, world.
Hello. Good to see you all.
And Austin, sorry, I've just seen your.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's better than last season, because last season we got to Austin and
just gave up.
Well, that's what we just had so much other stuff going on that we just didn't get time to do any more race reviews, so we just didn't bother.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Right. So I've got some other windows up now. I've got a nice new webcam because this one is getting a bit dodgy. But I was installing some software on it at the theatre last night and left it at the theatre, so I'm back on the old one again.
Nice.
Because this one, when I was using it for auditions the other week, it kept cutting out whenever you move the cable. There must be a break in the cable somewhere. It's fine when it's like mounted on top of here because it never moves, but whenever there's any kind of movement, it just freezes.
Tom's been in the theatre all week, and now he's suddenly become techie god and is talking techie geeky stuff that is even going over my head slightly.
No, to be fair, I bought the webcam 2 weeks ago, but I just haven't had a chance to deal with it until now. But yeah, so still on the old shitty webcam for now. But
hi, Tom.
Downey's in. Yeah, I know we're early, mate. We're early.
Morning.
We're both working. I'm in the theatre at like 12 o'clock, and I've got a haircut.
I don't really have. Well, I have an excuse. So last week I was running. Where was I last week? I was in Slane. No, where was I? Tuesday. I was in Dublin with a bunch of Indians trying to take pictures outside of Leinster House, which is where the Taoiseach, our Prime Minister, lives, on the street, and running around like a headless chicken with a load of Indians and models trying to take pictures. So that was my last couple of weeks, and hence I was not available. And then Tom wasn't available, and then and then Tom wasn't available yesterday because he had a few busy things to be doing, and such as theatre shows. And I actually was. It was. Oi! There
also that.
That. Why has he got an orb on its belly?
I don't know. He's playing with a marble, it looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is that the same picture you sent me? How did I not notice that before?
Probably not. I've got 4 different ones. One of which the umbilical cord looks like a giant willy, so like he takes after his dad.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's for the grid talk. The grid talk, sorry, not grid talk. That's the wrong thing. That's for the grid talk. That's because I just did a cheeky grid talk plug with my mic. That's for the YouTube live stream watchers only. That's for the YouTube viewers. They get that nice little picture.
Have we not pressed record yet?
No, that nice picture of my son. My son.
Your son. All the best people have sons first.
Yeah. Right. Should we start the podcast? This is going to be hilariously unprepared. My voice is all claggy now. Oh well.
Tasty. I've got a sock. I don't know where that's going.
Max Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win. That was absolutely brilliant. Oh, Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh, no, Maggie, that was so not right. Goes Leclerc. Through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff. And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
Bottas took out both legs and both.
And at the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin Magnussen, and there's a second contact.
Jesus Christ, I look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Like,
it's very early, everyone. It's 9:15.
It's not that early.
9. What the hell? I've been up since 8, but normally I'm up stupid o'clock.
But then the clocks have gone back. So is this 10:15?
Yeah, that was last week. That's over a week ago. Oh no, it's different for you, is it?
No, it's same. No, it was Sunday. It was on Sunday.
It was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday.
A week ago.
I don't know. It seems like a week ago.
That was 3 days ago. I know. Yeah. So I'm sorry, we haven't been here for a while.
Yeah, so welcome to the Austin Grand Prix review and the Mexico Grand Prix review.
Yeah,
no, just like life in the way and all that jazz and stuff. But we had a time set aside for the Austin review, and then we both kind of forgot.
Yeah, I forgot that we were meant to do that. I've even forgotten that we've forgotten. That's hilarious.
We were supposed to do it on Friday morning.
Oh yeah,
just before Mexico practice started. And then we both forgot. And I reminded you about 10 minutes before. And you're like, shit, okay. So, yep.
Where was I on Friday? I don't know. It's all been a bit mad. It's all been a bit mad in this house.
I'm not going to lie. I was quite relieved when you couldn't do it because it would have meant that things were quite tight for me as well.
Because Laura's got loads of assignments to do. So I've been on daddy daycare. Well, I came back from Dublin from doing a photo shoot, and then it was all back from, and then it was all a bit mad. Actually, weirdly though, I did a grid talk on Saturday.
You did. I heard that.
Weirdly.
Yeah, and I wasn't on it for once.
You weren't on it, and then it was all a bit mad because someone dropped out, and then Jared came in, which was quite good fun because I can't like, and then but I said some very sensible things which made me laugh. That's very off-brand. Mostly about Alpine.
Oh, okay, cool. Would you like to enlighten us on this? We've got no content plan for this show, so enlighten us.
Well, my whole thing is Alpine is hated by the media for some unknown reason. And I think there is a conspiracy theory going
French.
On. Yeah, but is it that? Is that the French don't have the audience now because there's no race in France, that they don't bother showing the French? Like, why is the reason? They are doing battles. We know they're doing decent battles. We know that Ocon and Gasly are having an internal battle, let alone an external battle. So I don't get quite why we never see them, and we always forget about them.
I think, in fairness, like, it's been bad timing for Alpine because they've been doing some better stuff, but further down the field. So, like, we were seeing them at the start of the season because they were more in the points, but now they've fallen back and having battles sort of towards the bottom end and outside the points. It's also coincided with racing getting a little bit closer up front, so there's a bit more intrigue up the front. It's not Max Verstappen just driving off into the distance. It is actually seems to be a bit closer. So I think it's more that the intrigue for the lead takes precedence over the fight for 8th. Yeah. Which I can understand, but it would be nice to see a bit more picture-in-picture maybe of stuff like that, because they seem to be doing more picture-in-picture. I've got to ask, actually, because I've been watching races on F1 TV a lot more often, because if I watch them with my parents, then they watch it on Sky. But if I'm watching it at home, I watch it on F1 TV. And there was a lot more picture-in-picture for the Mexican Grand Prix than normally is. So maybe that's an F1 TV thing.
It must be, because on Sky, I'm not overly seeing it. Picture in picture.
I mean, I'm not saying like all the time. It was maybe 4 or 5 times in the race, but there was definitely a time where there was a big battle going on, and then instead of cutting away like they normally do, there was a picture in picture of someone coming in for a pit stop. I can't remember who it was now, but it did seem a lot better. I do much prefer the F1 TV coverage.
Do they on the F1 TV? Do they just stop randomly so they could have the radios come through?
Yeah, the radio still come through.
Yeah, but do they just stop randomly what they're saying halfway through a sentence?
They kind of have to.
Never pick it up.
They kind of have to stop because otherwise they can't talk over the radio because that's bad TV. So they kind of have to do that.
But the radios are really annoying at the moment.
Yeah, they don't have any. They don't have any control. That's part of the live feed. They don't control when that radio comes in. Unfortunately,
because Jenson Button just spoke all over it. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, we got David Coulthard. We had David Coulthard and. As the
David Coulthard owns the company, doesn't he? Oh no, he owns Channel 4.
No, it's Whisper.
Yeah, Whisper. He owns Channel 4, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's not. He's only been on it this year. This is the first year he's been on it.
I wonder. Are Whisper doing the F1 TV then?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
No, F1 Whisper are definitely doing Channel 4, but I wonder if Whisper have the rights to F1 TV. Because David Coulthard wouldn't do anything without Whisper.
No, because they've got Sam Collins and all the other people from F1 TV on there. So I doubt that's to do with Whisper. But this is a really interesting Mexican Grand Prix review podcast. Talking about logistics
that's my old
and
TV brain just kicking in there.
No, I get it. But no, I think David Coulthard would do stuff without Whisper because he's freelancer, but also part of Whisper. So
he owns Whisper.
Well, yeah,
him and Sonny Ramji or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room of the Texas Grand Prix, which is the disqualifications.
Yeah. I'm looking at the standings at the moment on the official F1 website, and it still has Hamilton in second, but with DQ next to him, then Norris in the third position with a 2 and 18 points. So it's like they're still leaving them in the positions they finished the race, which is quite good. So that anyone looking back can be like, oh, okay, so Hamilton and Leclerc did do the race, but were disqualified at the end. So I quite like that they've done it that way.
Should they be disqualified? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, it's open and shut. I think the FIA could have dealt with it better, but it is the team's responsibility to keep the cars in the correct condition.
What I don't understand is why they didn't also test Russells and Sainz's.
So I think they do test random amounts because the cars are only in parc fermé for half an hour after the race. So they have half an hour to carry out these checks. So there's only so many checks they can do. And then they can then extend that if they have reason to believe that there's other things that need sorting. But I guess that probably fell outside the half-hour window. But to be honest,
they managed to get Max and Lando.
Yeah, they were watching cars on board, and then they selected or from behind to see where they were going through the corners, and they selected the 4 cars that they wanted to look at based on what they were seeing. So they were picking the people that they thought were most likely to be in contravenance. So it's like picking on the BMW driver for a speed test. It's that kind of thing. So sorry, Tom, if you're in the chat still. But
he's got an Audi now, hasn't he?
He does have an Audi now, I think, yeah. But yeah, so I think it's more to do with that. It's a case of we're not going to be able to catch everyone, so let's just try and catch the worst offenders. But it is their responsibility to run the vehicle in a legal condition all the time. Yeah. I think the biggest issue for me is in an era of ground effect aerodynamics, why are we having a plank of composite on the bottom of the vehicle and wearing it down and using that to gauge it? Why can't they just have sensors or something like that? I don't see why we have to rely on this. It's not wood anymore, but this plank of composite material. It just, firstly, it looks ugly. Secondly, why do we need it? Why can't we?
It used to be generally wood, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. In 94, it was a plank of wood. It was literally just a plank of wood. But I'm not sure when it changed, but it became composite a while back. Okay. But is it permaglass? I think it is. But
it's not very permanent.
No, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't see the point in the plank. And I always thought this. I have to be there. I have to say, I thought when this regulation set came in, it was the end of the plank. So I was quite surprised to see when they were lifting the cars in up in the air that the plank was back again. So I just don't.
Well, surely the plank also is not helping the ground effect as well.
Well, that's the point. It's to raise the cars up.
Okay.
To avoid that.
Sorry, but also the aerodynamics under the car. Because obviously you can't use that center channel to do anything.
I mean, I would find another solution. It just seems such a antiquated system to have just a plank of permaglass underneath.
I sort of get that Tom just said it's there for safety. I get the safety, the reason. Yeah, I get the reasoning as to why it's down. I'm not denying that, but I am questioning as to why. Yeah, as to what. But then sensors can be tampered, but then there's so many other sensors in those cars that could be tampered and have been tampered. Ferrari.
I mean, they have a minimum ride height now, obviously, because if they stop it in the porpoising and the bouncing and everything. So I kind of get they have to raise them up a little bit.
Even with a fucking tape measure, you can work out the height of a car. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're talking fractions of millimeters here. We're talking 0.002 of a millimeter sometimes.
Yeah, but you can get laser things and sizings. I'm sure
but there's the height of a vehicle when it's stationary and the height of a vehicle when it's under load is going to change a lot.
So is that I suppose that's the reasoning, that when it's under load, it's pushing it down, and thus it could look like the ride heights are the same when they're stood next door to each other after race, but when more downforce is pushed on top, it's pushing it down.
Yeah, but anyway, what do we know? We're just two guys.
There's nothing we know at all about this.
But I just feel there's probably a better solution to that nowadays. It seems like anything that was brought in 1994, surely there's a better solution to it now. But hey, it's fine. I'm sure it's much more technical than we're making it out to be.
So I'm still intrigued as to why they didn't. George Russell and Sainz surely should have been questioned as well.
I mean, I guess they probably
cars should have been questioned.
They got away with it. They got away with it. To be honest, I think a lot of people got away with it. Verstappen wouldn't have been. Verstappen and Perez wouldn't have been outside, because I don't think they were pushing as hard because of the car. I mean, Perez was, but we'll gloss over that. But I think that's why Verstappen would have been under it. McLaren, obviously, that car doesn't sit as low, but I reckon you've probably got at least 4 or 5 other cars that have failed that test during that race, and they just saying, okay, thank God for that. I mean, probably not Piastri or Ocon, because they didn't last long enough in the race, obviously. Probably not Alonso, but the other guys, I would say at least half of the rest of the field probably had an issue with that, and it'd be borderline or exceeding. But we'll never know. We'll never know. Should we leave Austin behind there and move on to Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, was there anything else that happened in Austin that we really care about?
It's too long ago now. It's too long ago.
Albon got more points. Leclerc got disqualified. Russell lucked out. Norris got a P2 in the end.
Yeah, cool. What did I do for my driver ratings for that? I had Hamilton on a 9. Before he got disqualified, but it's still,
Piastri got DNF.
Yeah, him and Ocon collided in turn 1. It was a decent race, Austin. It always is a decent race. I had Alonso up there as a decent score again, back up in the 7s and the 8s. And it was Ricciardo's first race back, which was okay. It's sprint weekend, so difficult to judge him on a sprint weekend. He had to run with Tsunoda's setup.
I forgot it had a sprint weekend as well. And another sprint weekend next weekend.
Yeah, it's the last one. It's the last one.
And do you know what? I've got no meetings at all, okay, between now and qualifying. What time do you think I have a meeting on Friday? So it came in yesterday.
Well, I cannot watch a single session live. And as it stands, I'm watching the race Monday afternoon.
Wow.
It's either that or I watch it at 1 a.m. when I've got.
We're not doing the podcast on Monday then.
Yeah, it's either that or I'm watching the race at 1 a.m. when I get in, when I'm starting work at 5. So that means like 2 hours sleep. So I don't know. I think I'll probably do that. I'd rather do that and have no sleep.
Because you're
wait till Monday. Because there's no way will I avoid spoilers. Because F1 being so popular nowadays, people at work talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating.
Especially as they know you do the podcast.
Well, they don't talk to me because I'm not very popular, but they just talk and I hear it. So I just avoid people at work anyway. I just say good morning. My workstation is right near the door. I just basically just walk in, go to my workstation, and just stay out of everyone's way.
Nice.
Yeah. Fun for me. But cool. Right. So Mexico then. Yeah, I mean Mexico's a funny one, isn't it? It's a bit of an odd race. Mexico.
Is it a street track officially? I asked this in the grid talk, and no one fucking answered me.
No, it's not officially. It's a classic circuit that they've revamped. It's not a street circuit.
Although it's a bit like Albert Park in the fact that it's in a park and there's stadiums and everything else in it.
Yeah, it's a.
They literally drive through a stadium, which is not a normal stadium because
it's good for drama, but I don't think it's that great for racing as a circuit. I think it's very difficult to.
Where's the drama?
Well, you've got that because of the elevation, not the elevation, sorry, because of the altitude.
There's no elevation, it's flat.
Yeah. Because of the altitude, it means it's a bit of a car breaker. I mean, we saw, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 5 drivers retire. I know Sargent was literally just came into pit lane instead of crossing the line, which was very bizarre. But it can be a bit of a car breaker, and the drama on lap 1, turn 1 is always difficult because of the draft and the incredibly long straight. Always an exciting lap 1.
Yeah.
So you do tend to have incidents.
We didn't have any incidents this time, did we?
Yeah, we had Perez. And Leclerc and everything. But yeah, so
wow, Tom, you're not awake to notice the sarcasm in my voice.
No, I'm not awake yet.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But it's just one of those circuits that's difficult to overtake as well. But we saw that's definitely improved now under the new regulations. It's definitely a lot easier to overtake than it used to be because we saw Norris passing people for fun. Yeah. And some of those overtakes, oh my God.
I'm really blind corners as well. It wasn't where you normally overtake. Yeah. It was just like, fuck it, let's lob it up this corner.
There's been a couple of times this year where him in particular, have been very close to a 10 score. No one's got a 10 score this year for me on my driver ratings. But if he hadn't got a bad restart after the red flag and hadn't fluffed his qualifying lap, he would have been a 10. That's two things. But
the thing is that what would have been intriguing as to how well he would have done had he not fucked up qualifying.
I think he would have been second place. I think he would have been fighting Hamilton for second place. Genuinely. I think potentially he would have done a different strategy. He wouldn't have started on the soft, which means he wouldn't have been out of sequence when the red flag came along and then having to make that second pit stop just before the red flag. So I think that he would have been up there with Hamilton fighting for second place in the race. I think he would have been ahead of the Ferraris potentially on the front row with Max Verstappen. So I think Verstappen still would have won. I mean, obviously Verstappen didn't get on the front row here, but I reckon he potentially could have got pole in that race. As
a race, there were sort of three things that obviously kept me awake, which is obviously the Perez crash, the Norris sort of going up the pack round 1.
But to be fair, like Tsunoda as well.
And Tsunoda. And then those two going through the pack was interesting. And then the other thing, obviously, was the Magnussen crash.
Yep.
And then after that, again going through the pack, and then Tsunoda having a moment. Because
the fight for 10th was interesting, where Hulkenberg was trying to hold on to that 10th place, and he had Ocon and Gasly and Tsunoda and stuff coming up behind. But you got to say, Tsunoda
Albon was in there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, Albon was up in P9.
Yeah. Did he finish in P9?
Yeah. Yeah, he finished in P9. But it was, I think it really showed up, because you had the guys that are great on tyre wear were like Norris and Hamilton and Verstappen and Leclerc just really streaking away. I mean, where was Sainz this weekend in the end? I mean, he only finished 4 seconds behind Leclerc in the end, but he was right. He was just being dropped.
He just left into, he just got put into no man's land. But I wonder whether he got put into no man's land deliberately as team orders.
I don't think so, because that wasn't of any benefit.
Well, it would have been, because it was holding Russell back. That was the challenge. Russell was speeding up behind him at one point.
Yeah, well, he was behind him on the restart. He was right behind him because he had the softer tyres, but he couldn't make him last.
Yeah.
And then they both fell away. And then Russell almost got done by Ricciardo right at the end as well, which would have been hilarious.
But this whole bollocks sometimes about, the hard tyres are faster, like that the mediums were faster than and then you just sit there just going, sorry, Verstappen's on the hards and he's doing fucking, super laps.
Isn't it? He's better car. I think it's one of those ones where the hard tyre, if you have the opportunity to bring it in slowly and then push it, then you can push it harder. Whereas if you have to push it straight out of the blocks like Sainz was, then you start getting like pick up on the tires and it just causes the tires to degrade a lot quicker in those early stages. They do clean up a bit after a time, but I don't think it's the best way to bring them in. And the same with the mediums, really. If you push them too hard too quick, then you have problems, which is why Hamilton, started off like pushing Leclerc, but not pushing him too hard just to bring those tires in. And then once he got ahead of him, It was just a case of managing those tyres, and he still had enough tyre life in it to put a fastest lap in at the end of the race, which I think was phenomenal to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, Leclerc, I don't know. I think Leclerc did quite well this weekend, bearing in mind he got smashed and grabbed on that first corner.
Yeah, but again, pole position. I think he didn't do particularly anything wrong, but pole position, then at pretty much bang on half distance, we have a red flag, and then he finishes 23 seconds off the lead.
Yeah.
With in 35 laps.
Yeah.
And they're short laps as well. So very short lap.
The fact that Norris finishes 33 seconds behind the lead and has come from, at that point, P12.
Yeah, I think he was 8 on the restart, and then he dropped to 12 because he got a bad restart. Yeah. So yeah, he had to overtake the cars.
I thought he went back 5 spaces, but yeah.
Yeah, it's 4. Either way, he dropped several places, 2, 3, 4 places at the start, at the restart. So to get up there into P5, I think that would have been another podium for McLaren. Yeah. And that car, I think, will work everywhere. They were worried about Mexico and they were worried about Brazil, but they're more optimistic for Brazil now that they've seen how well they ran in Mexico. So yeah. I love Brazil. I love the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to this one, but unfortunately,
it's one of those races that I can never remember.
I think I remember every Brazilian Grand Prix.
I know it's good, but I can't. I in my head, I can't tell you any features of the track. I can't tell you where it is.
It's amazing. So many great memories from Brazil over the years.
I'm gonna have to look at the Brazilian track because I literally can't think of it.
So you got the switch back on turn 1 and turn 2. You got it's like a little less situation. So you got it's an anti-clockwise circuit. So you drive down to turn 1. You got a hard left and then a hard right and then a hard left into a long straight into a braking zone. Then that's where the Verstappen Hamilton almost collision was, where Verstappen just massively pushed Hamilton off into turn 4. And then it's got like another kind of twisty section onto the long straight at the back where you got a long twisted straight.
That is between 12 and 1. Surely that's all flat out.
At the end of the lap. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
because it's just a massive bend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where is that Glock moment happened.
Okay. So I don't really I'm just looking at it. I don't really remember it at all.
It's a great circuit. Tom, where Verstappen pushed Hamilton out, he's like, because Hamilton deserved it. Yes, Tom. No prizes for guessing your loyalties there.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's a bit.
So as you can tell by this podcast already, we've not done a what Carl thought happened for this week.
Yeah, because basically I forgot.
Yeah, I mean it's very on brand for us. So.
Yeah, basically I forgot. Much like I forgot to do the podcast last week. I forgot to do the podcast. I forgot to do my review.
I mean, what happened with Russell? He just, all weekend he just wasn't on Hamilton's pace, was he?
Because he's shit. Next question.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to give me some of this newfound amazing.
No, I only had a few. I mean, Russell was just. Do you know what? He's just not that good. But he did quite well in the scheme of things, but he's not on Hamilton, and it really is. This year is proving a little the point which I think we all had. Well, a lot of us casual fans, if you will, questioned last year. Some just make me laugh because it's all about the drivers and not about the cars this year, because there is one driver out of every team that is better than the other. Okay, maybe not.
Just probably Alpine as well. Alpine are very, very tight. I mean, one was it Gasly's just ahead of Ocon in the championship. It's 11 points now, but I think that's a fairly close battle.
Yeah, and to be fair, the McLaren drivers are fairly close in terms of driving. They're not in terms of points because of. But
the Ferrari drivers, that's a strong battle because Leclerc is a stronger performer, but Sainz has got the points lead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's proving that it's about drivers and not about the cars this year. 2 years ago or last year, I can't even remember. It was all about, oh, well, he's got the better car and he's not a better driver.
Yeah.
There is nothing anyone can say that Verstappen is not the best driver.
I definitely say that having the strongest car has helped.
Sorry, Perez has the strongest car.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think even no matter who you put into that second car, they will, even if it's Alonso.
I had the same conversation. I don't think Alonso matches Verstappen.
No, I don't think anyone matches Verstappen, and this is
probably not in that car. But then equally, I think if you put Verstappen in the Aston Martin or in the Ferrari, I think he would struggle to match the people that are the incumbent in that team as well.
He would far outstrip Alonso or Stroll or whoever else is in that other car.
I think it's one of these situations. If you put anyone in a Red Bull with Verstappen, they would struggle. Verstappen in any of the other cars would do better.
Yeah.
So like if you put Verstappen with Hamilton, it would be a fight. And Hamilton over the course of a season would probably come out on top in a Mercedes. If you put Hamilton in a Red Bull over a season, I think Verstappen destroys him.
Yeah,
because Red Bull is so in tune to the way that Verstappen drives, and
which
the same with Mercedes.
Problem, and we've said that, this is their problem.
But it's the same. It's the same with every team. They're always going to go for.
But it's not because the McLarens have two drivers that are very similar in style, and that's where they've done really well. Yeah. Is that the McLarens are similar in style, similar in outlook and drivability. So that's why it suddenly kicked in, is because they've obviously been taking on board what both drivers have said this year, and they've now got two minds. Instead of, pretty much any of the other teams that have two very different drivers, they're pulling in two different directions, and they can only build one car.
I think what they're doing is they will build the fastest car they can, and then try and make it work for the driver without compromising speed. And if that means that it doesn't suit that driver, then that doesn't matter. Because if the other driver can do it, then they're going to go in that direction. If you've got someone else in that Red Bull, they probably go down a completely different development direction, because Max can make that car work in that condition, whereas Perez can't. So it's not like they're putting it in the style of Max Verstappen. They're putting it in the fastest style, and Max can deal with it. Perez can't. If that makes sense. So like Norris says, like, he hates the way the McLaren drives, but it's the quickest way to drive.
Yeah,
he would like it a lot more stable, but it's not. And then the difference was Ricciardo couldn't deal with that, whereas Piastri can.
Yeah.
So that just means he just prefers, he can adapt to that style better than Ricciardo could. Whereas Ricciardo likes his car very much like Max Verstappen as well, which is why they were so close when they were in Red Bull together. So,
which is interesting, because if Max likes it, Danny Rick showed some good pace this week. Got into the points, had some amazing battles.
Well, he started in the points, didn't he? And he stayed there.
Great qualifying. Yeah, he dropped 2 places, but he's in a fucking AlphaTauri. Do you know what I mean?
It's really annoying that Yuki Tsunoda made those 2 errors, because, like, driver ratings wise, I think I had Ricciardo at an 8, and then Tsunoda, despite having such a great race, gets a 6 just because he had those 2 really bad errors, and just showed his immaturity again, which I thought had kind of gone out of him by now. But it's going to be an interesting dynamic again. The last 3 races, that I really hope we get some decent comparisons between Tsunoda and Ricciardo for the last 3 races.
Tsunoda wanted it too much, and that's where he just pushed too hard. He should have, and the amount of times that the commentators, Martin Brundle, kept going on about it, and obviously you wouldn't have heard, was, it's all about patience. It's all about patience. It's all about patience here. And then cut to Tsunoda just doing a fucking one up the side. And
but the thing is, he had
Perez not even, like, let's talk about that first instant as well.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that. I mean, that was just to quickly lock off the Tsunoda thing as well. Like, he had a collision with Piastri, and as the car's off track, instead of getting back on track and racing, he's there just going, and like punching the steering wheel. So just get back on with it. You can argue about it afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Perez, he was just, it was, Max said it in, as my wife called it, Max Verstappen's podcast, i.e. the cool down room. He just has different guests each week. It was, he said in his podcast,
a few regulars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he had his he's saying to his guests on his podcast that the if Perez pulls that off, he looks like a it looks like a genius. But if it fails like it did, then it just makes him look a bit silly. So
yeah,
as Verstappen said there, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You've just got to accept that, which is a very mature attitude. But he didn't say that when he went around the outside of Hamilton in Monza and ended up on top of him. He just said, "Oh, that's what happens when you don't leave space." So
yeah.
Hopefully he's learned.
Whose fault was it then?
That's Perez, 100% Perez. Like, he had room on the outside. He wouldn't have kept the position, but you've got to give it a try. He had such an overspeed and such a better start than everyone else around him that he had to try it. The Ferrari's just completely bogged down. Verstappen straight through the middle, and so he had to give it a go. But he just turned in too much. It was very similar to Hamilton in Qatar. He just didn't leave enough space. There was space on the outside. Leclerc couldn't go anywhere. It was Verstappen and Leclerc right up against each other, and Perez turned into them both. It was very similar again to Tsunoda around Piastri.
Yeah,
he had the space. You didn't leave him enough space. So it's completely his fault. I don't think he knows that.
I agree. It was his. I think there was nothing, and he even admitted that. But obviously, that memo didn't get to the audience.
Yes, because they're all booing Leclerc, weren't they?
Like, talk about immaturity. Like, what is wrong with these people? I don't even understand. Like, if they're hardcore fans, they should fucking know better. And if they are casual fans, then you don't know better because you have it.
I've completely lost you. Oh, that's a very sexy pause there. There you go. Are you back? No, you're still frozen.
I wonder if that came through as a sexy pause, because it was fine with me and I could see you.
No, it was, I don't know.
I'm going to have to talk to the live stream now.
Yeah. We'll have to, when I rip the audio for the live stream because I forgot to hit record. There we go. You can tell it's early.
Oh, no, there is a pause. I've just watched the live stream.
Yeah. See, sexy pause. It's good, isn't it?
Wow, and my face just looks confused.
Well, that's what you look like most of the time anyway.
Yeah, brilliant. Anyway, there's a sexy pause. Sorry about that. They're dropping out.
Anyway, where were we? What were we saying?
The audiences. Right, so if you were a serious fan, if you were to...
wow, Robot Carl's back.
For fuck's sakes, really?
Try again. You're back.
You're going to have to cut this shit out. Right. If you were a serious... I do not look unimpressed. Anyway, if you were a serious fan... oh my God.
Come on, let's get this point out.
Right.
I've got a haircut booked in 40 minutes.
If you're a serious fan, why are you booing? Because you should know better. If you're not a serious fan, why are you booing? Because you don't know enough. And you're only there, nationalism? Because Perez is driving? What the fuck are you there for?
Exactly
fuck
that.
Off. Stop booing. Stop being assholes. Stop being cunts. Fuck off.
Oh, I'm going to have to bleep the C word, aren't I? Yeah, it was...
Why is that the only word you have to be? I never understand that.
Okay, fine. I think it is what you said. It's nationalism. It's the kind of the football fan mentality.
Yeah, but no, this is not football. This is Formula One. This is a higher class of sport.
Ew, look at me. I'm a higher class of sport. I like Formula One. You're better than you riff-raff from the old soccer ball.
Yeah. At least you call it soccer. If you call it football here, Jesus, you'd be killed. It makes it fills in the gaps between the polo season. Yeah, and it's just ridiculous, like why they were. Although the fans in the pit were calmer this year.
I will say, like, I think, like, it's very much the Sergio Perez Grand Prix, and every single Max Verstappen Grand Prix we've had, i.e. the Dutch Grand Prix, is Max Verstappen has won. So we've not seen what the fans are going to be like, but I reckon the Dutch fans will be worse than the Mexican fans when it comes to like causing chaos. If Verstappen got taken out in turn 1 by someone in Zandvoort, I think there would be chaos. There'll be track invasions and all kinds, I reckon.
Yeah.
But you have that when you have an entire country behind one driver. And we very much saw it in Schumacher's years as well with the Germans, not quite as much. They were much more efficient in their chaos. And we see it with various other types of drivers. Well, anyone Brazilian, anyone in that kind of that North American, South American border territory, you do tend to get very passionate fan base around there because I don't want to kind of pigeonhole, but maybe it's to do with like the style of life and the fact that they're very kind of underprivileged in a lot of it, but certainly the fans are anyway.
I've just said this is the most middle class sport, and down you peasants, you now just pissed off the whole of the Mexican
more like
by calling them under.
I mean, you look at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and like literally the favelas are behind the circuit. You've got homelessness and crime happening all around the circuit because it's underprivileged.
Oh, it's the track now. What they generally do.
Yeah. And it's not so much in Mexico, but certainly that area of Brazil is very underprivileged. Sao Paulo it's very like you've got incredible wealth and extreme poverty right next to each other.
Yeah.
And the sporting fans tend to come from the extreme poverty areas in those countries.
While in our country, more richer world.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you've got the multi-billionaires.
The Western world as well. Does that count as the Western world?
I don't know, but we're losing you again. Yeah. This is fun. This is fun doing this podcast, just talking to myself half the time. Let's wait for Carl to come back. Nope. Meep mop, robot Carl. Meep mop.
Are you back?
Are you back now, are you?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Of the day.
Your internet connection.
Okay, let's do this then. Who's driver of the day?
Yeah, let's lock this off. For me, driver of the day was Lando Norris.
Do you know what it is? It's my boy watching Minecraft videos. That's what's killing my internet. And I bet he's on the pad.
Probably.
And I bet the TV's working, and I bet it's all going. Anyway,
I'm going for Lando. I'm going for Lando Norris for driver of the day for me. I think that was phenomenal performance. Yuki would have been in with it if he hadn't crashed.
I think for me, it's Danny Rick, or purely on his qualifying and purely because he's dragged that car through the system, which he should never have done. And it's like Danny Rick or but then the problem with the driver of the day, and it's happened a couple of times, where the driver of the day is Perez or Lando or I think even Alonso. But the reason is that they're because they've failed somewhere in qualifying and they've started at the back. So I always find it hard to give that as driver of the day.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
When they failed.
Yeah, no, I adopt the same strategy, but the reason I've said Norris is because like he recovered and then he got inconvenienced by the red flag, which put him back 3 or 4 places, and then he recovered again, and those overtakes were just stunning. So that's why I'm still saying Lando Norris.
Okay,
but I think he excelled despite the errors.
Mm-hmm. I think Danny Rick, because he qualified amazingly well, and then he
did,
and he didn't fuck it up.
It would have been interesting to see where Tsunoda would have qualified had he not had the engine change.
Yeah.
Because I think he would have been in Q3 as well, but probably wouldn't have been up there as high as Ricciardo.
But what was interesting with that was everyone was saying, oh, the only reason that Ricciardo is in Q3 is because Tsunoda was giving him toes. Well, yes, I slightly agree. but then in Q3 he held his own.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's just look at the where's the qualifying times here. So what we got, Ricardo in Q2 got 1:17.7, and then he got a 1:17.3 in Q3. So he still improved in Q3.
Yeah.
The other times around him, yeah, I mean he's still, yeah, I mean the times around him, yeah, he would have definitely got a benefit to get into Q3 with Tsunoda doing that, but I think he's there anyway. I genuinely think he's there anyway.
Oh, the one thing we didn't talk about,
what,
is the qualifying and Stackgate.
Yeah, we can just touch on that before we go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, we can do Dick of the Day. I think this is really relates to my Dick of the Day, which is going to be that is qualifying in general at the moment. It just feels like it's like everyone's being a dick about it, and no one's helping each other out, and no one's being sensible with it.
The whole pit lane thing, like you can't play games in the pit lane.
Yeah.
The pit lane should be you enter at a constant speed, you stop and you go. You do not alleviate, you do not change your speed, because you can't have people racing in the pit lane. You can't have people doing strange things, because on the racetrack is set up and it has Arco barriers, it has Tech Pro, tire barriers, all that kind of stuff, and all demarked out in certain ways, and marshals are everywhere, but they're all there in safe positions. Everything around the track is designed to be hit and be safe. In the pit lane, you have people, you have cars. You can't fuck around in the pit lane.
Yeah,
it's not on.
It's a bit more open. Do you know what I mean?
It's completely open. There's no barriers in there. It's all just it's your people and rigs and it should be you enter at a constant speed. You leave at a constant speed until you are on the racetrack. You cannot adjust your speed unless you're avoiding an incident like someone pulling out in front of you or that kind of thing. And then once you enter the track, you're not allowed to stop.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to stop on a live racetrack. You're not allowed to go unnecessarily slowly. 3 drivers were guilty of that. 2 of them had stopped just beyond the pit lane line, and the other was just behind the pit lane line. So Alonso should have got away with it. I forget, there was Verstappen and one other. I forget who the other one was, but they 100% should have got a penalty for me, because they were on a live racetrack and stationary. Yeah. And to be honest, they should have got it for in the pit lane anyway, but just the way the rules are at the moment, it doesn't exist. So they need to sort that out, because it's not right.
Yeah, this is not the first time this has happened. And it's getting tedious now. It's really getting tedious, and I'm slightly fed up of it.
I think they need to put in a technical directive now for Brazil, just to say.
I don't know why they haven't done it. Why did they not do it last time when it happened?
I know, but now because they
not Austin, but the one before. I can't remember.
Because they know they can get away with it. They're going to keep doing it now. For the rest of the season, we're going to see it. We're going to see it again in Brazil. We're definitely going to see it in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So
I just don't understand as to what it's, and especially in Las Vegas, which is going to be so many unknowns as well.
Yeah.
It's not like a track that I've been to. So to then start fucking around like that in that pit lane, it's just fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
So my dicks of the day are the three that were obvious doing it. That's not that they were the only 3 that are doing it. You know, the Alonso, Verstappen, and Russell, for that reason, because it's just dick moves. I'm not saying that they are that had Lando been in their position at that point that he would not done it. You know.
Yeah. But just because there's no rule to say you shouldn't do something doesn't mean you shouldn't do something.
Yeah.
It doesn't say explicitly in the rule book that you can't throw a red shell out of your car or the car behind, but you still shouldn't do it.
Why did I suddenly think of Russia there? Yeah.
I was going Mario Kart, but Russia.
You were talking about red shells, and I was just like,
oh dear.
Wait, what color are they? What's the blue shell? Oh, that's the one that flies.
That's what takes the leader out.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we could use that.
We need a few more blue shells.
Right, on that very crazy note, anyway, I think we should end.
What's your dick of the day?
Oh yeah, I'm going with FIA for not putting something in place.
Well, I'm still going with the drivers for being a dicks, but okay, there we go.
Yeah, drivers for being dicks, FIA for not stopping the drivers being dicks. Yeah. So basically, everyone's a dick. Right. Yeah. Let's see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
any females, do we in the driver's seat? We can't really call them dicks, can we?
Vag of the day. No, we can't do that.
Fanny of the day.
I don't know. For discussion.